this week's pubisode, we chat about the benefits of drinking biscuit-flavoured tea, rage against the bastardisation of folk traditions around the world, and we chat to Mairi, Ash and Al from the Escape Rumour to see what makes them tick. So here we are sitting in the Boozy Binky where all the drinks are awkwardly served in those upside-down hamster bottles, taking a quick break after our escape from the corpse of Gavin the Rabbit to have a drink and chat about the room what we just did. But first it's my round, so who's drinking what?
Yo, I'm Mike, and I am drinking a Marks & Spencer's Black Forest Stout, cherry and chocolate, and it is very agreeable. I've drunk most of it, so I've actually got a backup beer in the wings. But yeah, this is really lovely. It's 6.5%. So I might, if I do nod off at any point, do just shout very loud and hopefully that'll wake me up. But yeah, it's really good. It's super sweet. It's got a good kind of like rich weightiness to it. Couldn't do more than one tin of this, I think, without needing to have a little nap and a cry. But yeah, I've got Adnams Blackshore Stout in the wings, which is just a reliable, good old stout from the Adnams Brewery in Southwold. Oh. So yeah, I am well served. I'm going to sleep well tonight or have a fight.
Say, on a school night as well, you're a brave man.
Yeah, I know. Screw Friday, Mike. You can get stuffed.
Perfect segue, because Mike just said he was going to start a fight. I'm drinking beer called Octopus Wants to Fight. Now, you can tell I only bought it because I liked the name and the design, but basically, to describe for all the listeners at home, it's a giant picture of an octopus with boxing gloves beating the heck out of some fish. And it's from the Great Lakes Brewery. So for those at home, I'm currently in Toronto in Canada. So I went to the supermarket and I was like, what's your most Canadian beer? And then the guy really wasn't that bothered behind the till. He was like, I was like, okay, don't worry. I'm going to come in the back and I'm going to look through all your beers. And I grabbed this one because I actually have an octopus tattoo. So I was like,
nice. Very cool.
The universe is matching up. So I'll just get the most like octopus themed beer in Canada.
I like it.
It kind of matches up.
What's it like?
It's really nice. It's very strong. It's 8.8%, which kind of makes it octopus themed. So I guess they've like deliberately made it.
Bloody hell.
8.8% beer. It's very hoppy. Like it's quite like, it doesn't go down too well, but it's an authentic Canadian experience. So I'm just going to go with it.
I know you would have liked it because it was hoppy. Gavin.
Nice. Perfectly themed as well. Wonderful.
So I am, well, both Ashlyn and I are actually teetotal. We have been for like probably the last 4 years, I think, maybe.
Good going.
Yeah.
Congrats. Well done.
University life, I was like, I think I've had my intake of alcohol for my entire life within this short period. So I am actually drinking the Yorkshire Tea biscuit brew in this enormous mug that is the size of my face. Because
that's amazing.
Every cup of tea that we have is literally like this size. I drink tea like an absolute fiend in this very on-theme mug, which I feel like I could take to a bar and everyone would know that I am a lesbian because it's...
It is. And listeners, Alice does not exaggerate. It is the size of her face.
Yes, it is the size.
That mug is got gargantuan. How is the biscuit brew?
Oh, it's delightful. If you've tried it, they do they do 3 different ones. They do a biscuit one, which is 10 out of 10, a bedtime one, which is 10 out of 10 for bedtime, and then they do a jam on toast one, which literally tastes like ass. It's awful. It's really sweet. Ashlyn likes it, but I do not.
So biscuit tea obviously tastes like biscuit. Jam on toast, intended to taste like jam on toast.
It is.
Bedtime taste of bed?
Yeah, kind of. Is your bed vanilla and nutmeg? If it is, then yes.
Well, I don't mean to brag, but...
It is literally delightful. I would highly recommend. And it's the decaf version as well. So those
nice.
If you can't consume caffeine past 3 p.m, it is ideal.
So where does one procure said brisket brew? So that's a different tea. New from Bovril, brisket brew. No. So where does one find this?
I feel like an advert, but any major supermarket will still please.
At all good supermarkets, the shit ones don't stock it.
Literally though. If we go to a supermarket and they don't have them, like, what are you?
Well, you can go to Waitrose and pay double the price of them than you do at Sainsbury's, but I
will on principle.
You do.
So very similar to Al, we have both enormous mugs. We are just very codependent, I think, is what the vibe that's coming out here.
Yeah. Another biscuit brew and in a massive mug because it's the evening. It's nice to be cozy. We love a hot
It's
drink.
convenient, yeah. I'm down with that.
We drink so much tea all the time. So,
yeah. What are your thoughts on the jam on toast brew? Equally horrific?
So, no, I quite like it, but we never buy it because Alice won't drink it. So, it's like, I will fight you on this. I don't like the jam and toast one. So, we have the biscuit brews and the bedtime brews. Biscuit brews all day long, working from home, like 10 of them probably in these massive mugs. And then get to the evening, get a nice bedtime brew. Settle down for the evening. Obviously, that delicious bed flavour.
Is it? Wonderful. Have you done the test where you dunk an actual biscuit into a regular cup of tea and then have the biscuit brew and then wait for it to dissolve and then see if you can taste the difference once you've sieved it, so there's no crumbs in there or anything. That's the next step.
Maybe that is the next step. We'll blindfold Alice and let her do the taste test.
And then it turns out, it's jam and toast flavour.
Tricked you.
You bamboozled me.
Yeah, to be honest, Alice, when you said you had biscuit brew, I just assumed that was some sort of colloquialism for having a regular cup of tea and then dropping your rich tea in it. And then it just sort of, they become one. And then you're like, delicious, thin soup.
That's a really weird Sheffield thing that we ever thought.
Are any of you familiar with the sport of tea jousting, by any chance?
No.
I'm still waiting to challenge somebody, especially you each get a cup of tea and the same biscuit, and you have to, on the count of 3, simultaneously dunk your biscuit into the tea for as long as you dare, and then lift it out and then eat it. And no tea can be spilled, the biscuit can't drop back into the mug, and the winner is the person who can submerge their biscuit for the longest, retrieve it unscathed, and then consume it without any crumbs.
Wow.
And for some reason, when I challenge folk in the office for this, they just look at me like, they're going to tell HR on me. I think it's a valid sport. It sounds amazing.
Jamie, is it because you're inviting people to a game of soggy biscuit?
Potentially. Well, yeah, maybe it's all in the wording. I'm going to market it correctly. That does explain a lot of the reactions I'm getting. Anyway, I'm Jamie, who is not being pulled up in front of his HR department on a regular basis, and I'm drinking a Buried Treasure, which is a raspberry mead from the Wye Valley Brewery. And I will just show you on the camera the bottle. It also has an octopus.
Octopus, hey, snap.
Oh, that's so meta.
Who's giving a living beatdown onto a treasure chest, which is lovely. I was there last weekend on a mead making course, and we sampled many delicious meads, and when in Rome, buy a shit ton of mead. It seems to be what it is. So I got there. I've earned a bit of a reputation as the mead man, and it is lovely. It's like 12.5%, so I will be sipping, not quaffing, this mead. But it's a very lovely raspberry flavour. But the bottle will go down quite quickly this evening, I fear.
How do you make mead? I have so many questions about that. You went on a mead making course. It's like a honey wine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in theory, it's very simple: honey, water, yeast, and that's it. And then whatever flavors you want to put in it. However, whenever I've tried to make mead, it's never been that simple, and it's ended up tasting like vinegary petrol. So I'm hoping this mead making course will set me straight. If I mess this up, then it's not their fault. They're professionals. They've set me right. It is me. I'm just cursed. So I've got a little gallon of juniper mead in my bedroom bubbling away over the next week or so, fermenting. So hopefully we'll get a live taste test where you'll get to see and hear my visceral reaction to my own concoctions. We'll wait.
Oh, can it be like your first taste of it, please, James?
I will do my best.
On the podcast. Just in case we hear you.
Oh, God. Just questioning every decision I've made up until this point in my life.
Also, you missed out the 4th ingredient you mentioned to us, which was the cozy jumper.
The cozy jumper? Oh,
yeah, you
yes.
said you had.
Of course, I wrapped the bottle in a cozy little knitted jumper to keep it at the right temperature. So now it's got its own little smock as it's bubbling away. I'm taking better care of it than I am my kids. So,
if anyone asks you what you're doing, you've got to say it's on a need to know basis. You need.
So we got a spoiler warning for the next section. If you have not yet listened to our previous puzzle episode, Down the Rabbit's Hole, please stop what you're doing right now. What do you think you're doing? And listen to that. We will wait for you. No, fuck everyone. Right, so in the last episode, our our quartet of quizzical questers were trapped within the cavernous corpse of Gavin the Rabbit, a big bad boss that we thought we'd slain 3 years ago, who was back because of the machinations of an evil cult. And through some deft sledgehammering, staple gunning, and wonderful wearing of white robes, they succeeded in retrieving the single decorated Easter egg that was powering his resurrection and luckily stopped him from taking over the world. So congratulations to the four of you. You did amazingly.
Oh, there were Easter eggs. Oh.
Oh shit, spoiler.
I had something much more eldritch in my head from those descriptions. Like much more eldritch. I somehow didn't make the jump to Easter eggs. You might have even said Easter eggs. My brain just blanked the Easter bit out because it was so full of just dark horror.
I think he said like Jesus a few times, and I was like, oh, I get it.
There's a whole thing going on. I was initially a little worried that you would just annihilate the room within minutes because you got up through the stomach, up into the mouth, and back down into the lungs very quickly. But then luckily, when you were in the lungs, that jumper cable puzzle stumped you just long enough, and then you debated over the correct egg in the heart. So I think pacing wise, you did really well, and I breathed a sigh of relief.
It's very clear, by the way, that you three solve puzzles together on a regular basis. It was like watching some sort of well-oiled machine come into play.
Well, Al and Ash are like more of a well-oiled machine. I'm like their +1 sometimes. I feel like you guys have been doing it for so many years, right?
Yeah. It's been a long time now. I remember the first one we ever did, though. Do you remember with that, the 3 blind mice puzzle and the bottles? I've never forgotten that.
That was a very good first room to get us into the escape room genre. We did start off with a good one because there was a good range of puzzles, like musical things, all sorts. It was very.
Oh wow! Where was that?
That was in the Lake District. So we were on holiday with my family, and we just happened to. It was a rainy day on holiday, so we were like, "Oh, should we try doing this?" Because we can't go out and do much because it's miserable. And we had the best time. And then immediately after coming back off holiday, we were like, "We need to do some more of these," and started doing escape rooms all the time.
It was cliffhanger rooms in the Lake District. That's what it was, and it was like a haunted pirate-based game.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Yeah, we literally put on those pirates' hats and we were like, this is what we should do forever.
We're like, this is our calling.
Yeah.
Let's spend all of our money on this hobby. But yeah, no, it's been good, hasn't it? We've done many now. Like our spreadsheet was so up to date and then we've just let it slide.
Oh no.
We've not actually done one together, have we, mate?
No, not yet.
I know we did some virtual room solving through COVID, and that was a good laugh. But yeah, I think basically the best combination I've found for us actually solving rooms is Jamie, my wife, and a bottle of wine.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Laura plus wine plus Jamie covers just about all the puzzle bases.
That's
to be fair, wine makes escaping easier. I think it does lubricate the brain cells just enough. You start to make those neural connections before it starts to tip over into I'm asleep. That's not good.
Laura's brain has this kind of like WD-40 effect. It's just like a little bit of wine goes in, and as long as you keep the wine going in, it's just fluid.
I think you're right though. Like a little bit of inhibition goes down, and you like voice the things you wouldn't normally voice, and that ends up being useful to the actual puzzle. For sure.
It's gone to the point where I will just narrate my thought processes in an escape room. I'm like doing commentary on my own actions. And it irritates, I think, everybody else who's with me because they're not being able to think. But eventually, one day, one of them will go, oh, Jimmy talked about that key over there.
Well, Jamie, I mean, if we were on Pedagodzilla right now, I'd be talking to you about how Vygotsky and social constructionism, the kind of the articulation of thought leading to understanding. But we're not on that podcast, so we won't.
I will pretend I understood what that meant.
We won't talk about cognitive psychology. All right.
It's a different podcast. That one's tomorrow. You're recording that.
We have to talk about rabbits and eggs because, as you all know, rabbits famously lay eggs.
Anything you want to tell us exciting about the room? Any Easter eggs? Any callbacks? I'd forgotten that it was 3 years ago. I can't believe it was 3 years ago.
Yeah. So as soon as I realized that this episode would be going out either on or around Easter, I remembered that there was a Gavin the Rabbit episode from years ago, which was released on Easter, I believe, as well. And yeah, I never had done like a sequel episode. I've fancied going back to a previous episode, the aftermath, and trying to do something with that. I ended up going literally down a rabbit hole of facts and things.
Terrible.
I couldn't help it. So like when you were going, you had to force open the gullet to crawl back up through into the mouth. That's because rabbits can't vomit. They're incapable of doing so. So you literally had to force your way back up.
Rabbits can't vomit?
Nope. It has to go down. Everything goes down. Can't vomit.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, I think a lot of like rodents and stuff just don't have the equipment to do so. So that's why you had to do it yourself. I don't think they've got like flower clocks painted on their gullet though. That was an addition by me more than anything else.
I genuinely thought the flower clock was like a bit that you needed to vomit for a second there, Jamie, until you put that into context. I thought that was a piece of digestive equipment.
And then with the teeth, smashing it with the sledgehammer. Rabbits are one of the species that their teeth never stop growing. I presume death stops it, but it's a magical giant rabbit corpse. So
I think death probably stops it. Otherwise, we'd all be ankle deep in rabbit teeth.
Never stop.
Every dead rabbit ever just continues growing teeth.
I mean, there's a reason why archaeologists have to dig down several meters to get to history.
It's all rabbit teeth the whole way down.
Rabbit teeth just turned to soil. That's what it is.
That is fucking horrendous. As I thought.
But when I was like looking at different like Easter things that I could put into there, just looking at just how much stuff has just been co-opted from other religions into what we now know as Easter. Like the date, the name, the eggs, everything else. So the eggs, the painting of Easter eggs is like a Ukrainian tradition.
Right.
I got the name of it. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation. Pisanka. And like no one painted eggs at all until people from the Ukraine immigrated to the US. And then like most things, once it gets to the US, it just goes because they can make money out of it. But it's like a pre-Christian tradition. So there's whatever the religion was, the folk religions in the Ukraine at the time, worship the sun god. And because he's god of the sun, god of the sky, his like special animal, sacred animal was birds. And because birds always fly, you can never reach them. But what you can reach are the eggs that they drop. And that's like a connection between you and God. So the reason why they painted them is because they held them sacred.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they go into the US and they go, we'll make it out of chocolate and you fucking eat them. That's what we think of your faith.
Happens a lot. The commercialization, commodification even.
Let's take a folk religious festival and we can make money off it and give everybody diabetes at the same time. It's win-win. Looking at you, Halloween. And Easter.
See, you never
Valentine's
take part
Day.
in these things except for the day after when everything's on sale. Like I will not pay full price for one of these. So
that is smart. I like that. Easter 2, Electric Boogaloo. Looking forward to it.
Just me and like a sack, like shoveling. Like, this will last for 3 years.
£2.50 lint egg. Don't mind if I do. Size of a small dog. Perfect.
Right, I believe that's the bell for last orders. So we will cease talking about the puzzle and we will talk to our wonderful guests. So welcome, Mairi, Al, and Ash to the podcast. I know you've introduced yourselves very briefly in the puzzle episode, but for the listeners that are coming into this episode, potentially completely cold from the previous one, which is weird, but you never know. And just in case the folks don't know, tell us a little bit about yourselves and the escape room. So the three of us together make up part of Team Escaping the Closet, but we also write for The Escape Room. So The Escape Room is a news and review site about the whole of the UK escape room industry. So new escape rooms opening, reviews, everything possible about the puzzle industry in the UK we write about. But yeah, we also review and play escape rooms together. So I think three of us are going on holiday with another friend, Tasha. Shout out to Tasha. This May to Amsterdam, so we like to go away and play a lot of escape rooms together. So we're definitely all enthusiasts in the industry as well. Oh, nice. What are you most looking forward to in Amsterdam?
Oh, stay in the dark. I literally can't wait.
You are, not me.
I'm kind of dreading stay in the dark, and that's not because I'm scared particularly, but I'm nervous about how scared everyone else is going to be and what position that will leave me in.
Yeah, if you've got to carry the rest of it.
Well, it's not that I'm afraid. I'm just afraid how afraid everybody else is. In case it's catching.
I mean, no. Ash is serious. I think we're all going to be unconsolable, hiding in the corner, and she's going to have to do the whole room without us.
Good.
What is this?
Yeah,
game?
this sounds pretty horrific. Is it like someone like chased you with a chainsaw while you're solving puzzles or something?
So it's this like enormous space that you can only book up to 3 months in advance because the building that they're doing it in is going to be demolished and they don't know whether they're going to still have the space. So it's like a 2.5 hour experience that you're in, and it's basically like you're in your own. It's like an immersive experience that's like. But a lot of enthusiasts have like written about it online and written really good things about like just saying you don't really know what it is until you've done it. One of those kind of things. So, yeah, we saw it, and I know, like, I am a bit of a wimp, but I also know that our friend Tasha is. I have played escape rooms with her before. I've had like live actors in where she in normal life she is fine, in everyday life she is fine, but in those months she has spent the majority of the time sat on the floor in front of the trapdoor that the live actor wants to come through, and then after the room's finished, they were like, we couldn't get in because one of you was sat down crying.
That's the idea. Oh, wow.
Yeah, of course we're going to go and play this intensely horrifying room. Yeah. But yeah, no, one of the blurb things was don't play if you've got a fear of heights. What does that mean?
Wow.
There's a base jump at the end. We have to leap off the roof before the building falls. I mean, Escape the Condemned Warehouse is enough of a horror show in itself, but good God, that sounds incredible.
Oh, I'm absolutely buzzing for it. And they were playing the Dome as well.
Oh, I've heard about the Dome. Everybody talks about the Dome. I'm so jealous.
Everyone does. And I'm like, what does it mean? Like, why? How is it so good? So we're going to play the Dome and find out why.
You have to let us know how you get on, because that sounds like an amazing holiday. So Ash and I, we've heard your escape room origin story. Mairi, what's your introduction to escape rooms?
Wow. So I feel like I'm a little bit later to the escape room industry than most people. And because escape rooms are since 2013 in the UK. So I feel like even as a country, we're slightly later than most others. But I didn't play my first one until 2017, I think. And that was a little escape room in the UK, obviously, in London called Cube Escape. And if I remember correctly, I don't think it runs anymore, but it was just this one guy, and he'd hired out this really random office building. So we had to walk through banks and I don't know, PR firms. It was really weird. And he'd hired this office space, and he built something out of corrugated iron and cardboard and staples. It was really strange. But the thing is, he loved what he did, and it translated. It was just so fun, so full of passion. And on the train home, I was like, guys, should we just book the next one already? Should we book another one? And kind of the rest is history. But I guess my origin's slightly different because I'm more of an escape room designer these days. So from that first escape room, I was like, this is a thing that's going to happen. And I actually, from that moment, applied for a job working for an escape room because I was like, this is what I love immediately. I was already doing a bit of work in murder mysteries, live events, theatre and stuff like that. But then the moment I played my first escape room, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And the rest is history, kind of that. So for me, it was very much I was hooked from the first moment. But I kind of took it a little bit too far, which my partner will tell you I take everything a bit too far. I play something, I like it. And I'm like, I'm going to make this my entire life from now on. And that was about 5 years ago. And I think we can all attest, I have made it my entire life for better or for worse. So I'm still here, still playing.
I like it. What's the, if you're able to pick one, what's project where you sort of either most proud to have worked on, or one that you sort of sticks in your brain as going, you know what, yeah, that was an absolute banger?
Oh, that's a really tricky question. So I think, as you probably know, Jamie, I recently worked on Dimensions with Mysterious Package Company. And that was nothing ever I did before, because that was a 3D pop-up environment. So we kind of went we want to make an escape room that someone can play at home, but we don't want it to be digital or something. We want someone to feel like they're in a room. So we constructed this massive house, and there's 8 rooms inside, and every single room has different things going on. So that's probably my most recent exciting project. But the one that I'm most interested in right now is probably do you guys know 11 Puzzles? We do video games together. So that one is a unique challenge because that one is about splitting the gameplay in 2. So each player has half of the puzzle, and what that means for the gameplay. It creates totally different puzzles. Because normally in an escape rooms, you guys know, you go in, you can see everything, you put it out on the table in front of you. But with this one, we're the 2 players are completely separated. So it's all about how you describe what you're seeing. So kind of how you described it, Jamie, as we were going through the room that you invented. it's like, what can we see? What's relevant? What's not? But we try and create that in the video game format of like, you can see that room in front of you, but your friend, your opponent can't see that. So how do you and what do you prioritize to communicate?
For somebody coming to Sheffield, what is like the one room that you'd be like, this is the room to do in Sheffield?
We're really big fans of the cryptology branch. So they're like a chain. They've got rooms in Nottingham. They've got rooms in Sheffield. They used to have rooms in Barnsley, which we played both of theirs, but then they closed, which was really sad. But one of those is one of the first rooms where they had like a wheelchair in the room. It was like a kind of like a creaky old hospital, and that was a bit scary. And we'd spent the time wheeling our friend around in it because she was scared.
To make it less scary. We're like,
What do you think, Ash? Do you reckon cryptology? That would be...
Yeah, seconded cryptology. All of their rooms are good, but I think First Contact, which is like an alien room, it's really like tactile. There's lots of very sort of doing
You get to use your
things.
grill. You get to have a shower. There's cool things in that room.
There are cool things in that room.
Oh,
And
nice.
the time clock thing for it, instead of counting down 60 minutes, it tells you how much air, I think it is, how much air.
Oh, that's good.
And so it's a percentage rather than a time. So obviously working on a base of 100, not 60. So you kind of got to be like, how long do we actually have left?
Just trying to do extra maths just to figure out how long before you die. Just carry the two.
yeah.
Shit. Oh, I love it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's okay. I've just added that to my want to goes because we've got some friends of the podcast who live in Sheffield as well, who I'm long overdue a visit of. And I used to go to a lot of LANs in Sheffield as well, LAN parties. So I need to get down there again. So I've added that to my want to go list.
100%. Any of the cryptology rooms, and if you can make it to Nottingham, Nottingham's a big hub of escape rooms. Cryptology have got a room called Daylight Robbery, which is get as much as you can room. Ashley and I played it just as a 2. Normally it's like 4 to 8, but it's so big. There were some rooms we didn't even go in. Within that escape, and we were like, this is so that's one we've got to go. We need to go play it again, definitely at some point. But that was if you're down this way and you want to climb through some lasers, then puzzles.
Yes, I do.
So sold. So sold.
Yeah.
So good. You get the full hour as well. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when you go into a room and you're gonna have like half an hour, 40 minutes in there, and that'll be a good stint. This one we got out and it was like it was the whole hour we were in there. And I don't even think I spoke to Ash for most of it because we're just
I'm sold. Yeah. What is it about it that keeps you coming back to do them?
Oof. It's a good question.
It's a big question.
It is.
For me, it's like, I think it's an escape from reality. As simple as that, right? It's doing something you could never do in your day-to-day life, be it rob a bank or like go to a fantasy world. It's just a lot of fun. Like if I was like sit down and think, okay, I want to spend time with my friends this weekend. What should we do? Should we do bowling? Should we do darts? Or should we go on to the moon and fight aliens? Like, I feel like it's a no-brainer.
That's fair.
That's me anyway.
100% agree with that. Like, some of the best nights we've had have been like random Sunday nights where we've been in Sheffield and we've just been like to our friends, like, should we drive to Retford? And like, that's like an hour's drive from here.
You have to go on 3 motorways.
Commitment. Our friends who will be like, you know what? Yeah, let's go do that. And then you end up like eating in like some weird, like we've eaten in some really weird restaurants because there's only select places that are open on like Tuesdays at like 6 o'clock when you're in Retford. So yeah, no, it's definitely that escape from reality. But like around the whole escape, we always have a lot of fun, like traveling, getting there, and then like debriefing afterwards with like a lot of our friends are really into them as well. Like we have a lot of people who we've taken, both of our families that like do them with us now. Wherever we go anywhere, they're like, so where are we escaping then, girl? Options. But yeah, no, we've taken a lot of people and it's been good. And like without it, we wouldn't have met Mairi and like things like that. So yeah, it's been really nice. And the escape from reality, 100%. During COVID, it was great as well. Like just being able to log online and like do something completely different every week. Yeah. Like it was cool.
I love it.
It was good.
What about you, Ash?
Yeah, really similar. But yeah, that escape from reality, you just can't think about anything else when you're in there. It's so good if you're stressed about work, if you're stressed about anything, like you go in an escape room and you can't think about anything else because you've got to sort it out. You've got to solve the puzzles. You've got to get out. Like I love that sort of just forget about everything else and just get on with it. And it really does bring everyone together. Like Alice said, we do have sort of like our standard team. Like we do the online puzzles with Mairi and our friend Tasha, and we've got our holiday coming up and things like that. But pretty much anyone that we've introduced to escape rooms and been like, do you fancy coming on an escape room with us? Have loved it and been like, yeah, let's do another when we're doing our next escape. So we've got so many little groups of friends that want to come and escape with us. It's just such a nice, fun thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I suppose, hopefully, that corporations don't cotton onto that fact and just start slamming 60-minute timers in front of people's desks, going, "Go! You have to type in this. You have to finish Excel in the next 60 minutes. Otherwise, the entire company won't get Microsoft 365."
So, Alice, it's interesting you said about in lockdown as well, because I know we found, Jamie, on the podcast that during lockdown we had a lot of people wanting to come on and solve with us, like in our friendship group, just because they found it a good way to connect. And I think it's having that kind of that group activity that you can engage in that isn't another bloody Zoom call or another bloody remote pub quiz. That it's actually something that's tickling different parts of your brain that you can all do together and have a bit of a laugh about.
There was a thing that I don't know if you guys know, Heiner, who does the Escape Room as DE.
Yeah.
He set up this like Sunday night competition thing in lockdown where everyone did the same online puzzle at the same time. And then that was like a whole Facebook site, and me and Ashlyn and our friend Tasha, we were doing that every week. So everyone would sign up and everyone would pay, like normally the company that were doing it would give like a reduced fee. So you'd pay like $5 for this. So they were still getting money because there was like 50 to 100 people all paying for your room. And then they'd produce like a leaderboard of it and everything like that. And that was really cool. Like the Team Squared were playing it as well.
Nice.
I don't know what so it was really fun to just like compare ourselves to them as well and like see how they solved stuff. And then we brought Mairi in to play those as well. So that was ace. In what I loved it. I would still do those now if they were around. Like super competitive. It was so much fun.
It's like one of the silver linings of that whole like awful 3-year period was just the explosion of escape rooms and escape games. And the community around that just went massive and is incredible.
They were forced online, weren't they? It was kind of like it was like, oh my god, I have this love and I need to have an outlet for it online now.
I spent so much money on Kickstarters that year. It was just like, go on then. I'm not going to see it for the next decade, but go on then.
I am so. Is anybody else super stoked for Steps Book Nook Kickstarter?
Wow, I booked in. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm just like that's. Yeah. I'm utterly in love with the whole idea. It looks cool.
Oh, I'm going to talk to you about that, Mike, but later.
Has he made one out of chocolate?
Not yet, but I'll put a good word in and see what we can get.
Step does good chocolate. I was thinking, if we could follow the Step model for your mead, where Step became an accidental chocolatier who happened to wrap amazing chocolate in puzzles.
I'd be more than happy to wrap delicious mead with puzzles. However, I refer you back to step 1. Make drinkable mead.
How much dog chocolate do you think Step went through before he hit on that?
I mean, that's fair.
Formula?
I mean, I could just buy them from the Y Valley Meadery, take the labels off, and replace them with my own. Shh.
Yes, Jamie.
Say nothing.
Yes, that's right.
And so for you, when you're playing rooms, from your personal experience, what is it that makes the difference between a good room that ticks all the boxes and a room that you go, that was absolutely banging, that was amazing?
I think for me, it's just when everything really makes sense and it clicks. There's been some rooms that we've done where it's taken us a lot of time, but everything's made sense and it's been so satisfactory when we've gone, and like you've tried something the first time and you're nearly there, but you've not quite got it. And there's an additional step. And then you're like, I really like when it all makes sense and it clicks. And a really good example of that is in Macclesfield, their escape rooms. Alice, can you remember what they're called?
Escape Quest in Macclesfield.
They are incredible. Just everything is really well designed. There's loads to it. Like you take the full time. It's the sort of like the concept of get as much as you can. There's like a minimum to pass the to pass the game and complete it, but it's like get as much as you can, and it's just so immersive. I mean, you've got to do it to sort of understand the sort of the level of immersion that you get from it. But and I don't want to spoil or anything too much, but it's just everything clicks, everything makes sense, and so you get that real satisfaction that you've done a good job of solving it. Obviously, it's great when things click really quickly and you get through it, but it's nice to know that it's a big chunky puzzle and you've got through it and it's all made sense.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Anyway,
that's cool. What about you, Al?
I'm going to say something way more basic than that. I think I literally am a sucker for like a hidden door or a crawl space. Like, we've done a couple of rooms where we've ended up in the ceiling. I am such a fan ceiling that there was one in Margate that was Control Alt Escape.
I've done that one.
Yeah.
Are you thinking the one that's like Red Dwarf?
Yes, you end up in they've closed it now, which is such a shame. But you finished in a roller coaster of a spaceship that like physically moved. It was insane. But
I knackered my knees in the ducting on that one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, you were like climbing around the ceiling and you were like shouting down into the main room.
Oh, cool.
That was so cool.
No, we were both up there because we were idiots. So we both went up and down there the same time several times in our 30s with our ancient knees.
Love it.
Yeah, anything like
No,
I absolutely love it. But also, I'm like considering I'm such a wimp, I think one of the rooms that I've spoken the most about are the ones that have a bit of a scare. I always like a bit of a scare. It's so like the immersion. And I think also it just like brings everyone just has to come together and be like, and then afterwards you're just like, that was terrible.
Gets the blood pumping. I love it. What about you, Mairi?
That's a really big question. I guess for me, I like anything that stands out as like really special is something that did something a little bit more than a typical escape room. So something beyond like locks and keys and you have to escape. I really like the rooms that make you like score points and things like that, like a little bit of replayability. And I guess like it's the question, like, do you count things like Phantom Peak as an escape room? Like it has escape room elements, but it's infinitely replayable and seasonal as well. So you can come back winter, summer, and it's completely changed. For me, those are kind of the things that take an escape room from this is really fun to, oh my God, this is something incredible. So my favorite one at the moment is actually a one that just opened up in Edinburgh, Scotland, and it's called Case Closed. And it's 90 minutes long. And it's not really an escape room because you are detectives and you have to solve a crime, but you're not like just unlocking keys and locks and padlocks and stuff. You're actually solving the crime. So you have like fingerprint analysis tools, like weapons analysis tools. Like they make you really think like, okay, like
that is cool.
This isn't an escape room. This is like, how would I solve this if I was a real detective? And there's like live actors and stuff. And they just do it really cleverly. I think it's kind of like almost coming towards the next generation of what an escape room is. Like, know what escape rooms are now, but that's a limited model because if you're an escape room owner, like once someone's played your room, they won't come back. So what does the next one look like? And I'm really interested in that. Like, I think something that makes a really special escape room to me is something that feels a little bit next level from the general consensus of what's now, which is where you see things like the Topeka award winners. They tend to be escape rooms more on that side of the next generation of what's possible within the medium as well. And I think that's really clever. So yeah, for me, it's something that does something different narratively or like gameplay wise as well.
I love it. That's amazing. But that is our time. The bell for Lost Orders has rung and my mead is almost out. So we shall see you next time on the Infinite Escape Room, where we are escaping from a penguin enclosure. We love you lots, and we'll see you next time on the Infinite Escape Room. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Of the next generation of what's possible within the medium as well. And I think that's really clever. So yeah, for me, it's something that does something different narratively or like gameplay wise as well.
I love it. That's amazing. But that is our time. The bell for Lost Orders has rung and my mead is almost out. So we shall see you next time on the Infinite Escape Room, where we are escaping from a penguin enclosure. We love you lots, and we'll see you next time on the Infinite Escape Room. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.